They need to do good at stage 1 major.
Count this as a chip.
I'm getting a brain aneurysm. Look.
Every question we could have possibly had about them was answered.
Do you think it's time to panic about London Royal Ravens?
Control's a terrible game mode.
What are they doing? Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite. To my right is Batch_Bo3 Sam, and to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than the Rex Shady Nero. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the Kickoff Classic is in the books, which officially deemed the start of the CDL in Vanguard in 2022. So we have a lot to talk about today, obviously. Breaking down the event, we're doing buy or sell. And so we're going through some of the hot takes from the community and just from our own crazy brains and buying or selling, whether or not that's actually possible or plausible heading on to this year. So it's going to be a fun conversation, and not to mention the news of the week and a lot more. Before I get into that, guys, I got to ask, boys, what's going on?
Well, Josh, I'm feeling like a snap of the fingers, like a crack of the whip. I'm feeling like a firecracker about to explode, and I'm turning myself into an artillery shell, flying to the sky, spreading out some beautiful colors and booms for the whole world to enjoy.
Man, putting on a show. Putting on a show.
I too enjoy spreading out.
And putting on a show.
And putting on a show.
Yeah. You are looking relaxed over there, Sam. You're really...
Yeah, I think Rex is still...
It's one of those long fireworks. You know?
Yeah. It keeps going.
It's a whole show. So
Oh, for sure.
Oh, of course.
We'll just have that in the
Yes,
background.
you are looking comfortable, though. How you doing?
You know, I'm feeling comfy. It's today. You ever have those days where it's just you need the comfy vibe at the end of the day? It's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
one of those Monday
It's the sweatpants and the hoodie without a shirt underneath type nights. You know?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I'm a little relaxed right now. If it's too uncomfortable for you, I will switch.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? So
This is what I live for.
But yeah,
like
I'm
I
doing
said.
great.
are you comfortable right now?
Oh, who is it?
Soup's comf.
Yeah, like I said, we've got a lot to get into today. You can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify, watch on YouTube, and you can drop that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And today, we might just have one. And Sam, what do you got for us?
Now, this one is a good one. It's a good review. You know,
Okay.
our last review,
Hit me with it.
it's been a while. So December 30th was like our cutoff for like our
That's
last
embarrassing.
review. And then Thursday is when we have the next
This guy.
So 5 stars, of course. This is from Carrot Phil. And
Okay. All right. Carrot,
do you know Carrot Phil?
I mean, I know a carrot. I don't know if that's the carrot, but
Okay.
it better be.
This is the review. We all know these guys are packing.
Oh.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
And I respect it because who knows, that could mean a variety of things. Okay. So let's not get our heads too far in the gutter.
Yeah. We're moving. So we're just kind of packing up a little bit.
Exactly.
So.
We're all packing up our,
Rex,
our
are you
bags.
I'm packing, bro.
Yeah, but
I know.
Yeah, you are.
I know.
Rex is packing.
That's
Here's
a 5-star packing review right there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers. Cheers to that. Of course. And we appreciate the review, Carrot. I mean, wow. He knows more about us than we know about ourselves.
True.
And so without further ado, we got a lot to talk about today. So let's get right into the news of the week.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
News here. Come get your Call of Duty news. League news. Maven and Merk still not contracted to cast.
Wow.
At this point, again, probably every piece of news will come out right before we post this tomorrow. But
So Merk tweeted, competitive COD has been a staple in my life for the last 12 to 13 years. As Maven tweeted, we are in the dark. For now, I'll be focusing on content, freelance work. Luckily, my stream is in the best place it's ever been. Lastly, want to wish the people working this weekend good luck. before the kickoff,
which of course
Classic.
was last weekend. Yeah. So
If it comes out,
that was the talk of the town though, going into the weekend.
if this news drops tomorrow, I'm going to lose my mind. Because we delayed this recording.
We've been on a pretty bad streak the last like
it's
3
unfortunate.
weeks. It's
I'm not
been
gonna
tough.
say it's my fault, but it's my fault. Most of these recordings delayed is my fault.
Oh, yeah, welcome to
take
a Wednesday edition of the show, by the
exactly.
way.
And I swear, if it has been announced that Merk and Maven are signed,
yeah.
I'm going to
and
lose
also next week will also be a Wednesday edition of the show, so we kind of have back-to-back Wednesday editions.
just one of
I'll
those things,
be out of town.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's
I don't
going
know.
to
hopefully-
San Diego.
Oh, of course. Hopefully that's sorted out though. I mean, to be fair, the event was actually the whole broadcast team, everyone did a really good job. And that kind of pairs with the next part of this. We can maybe talk about it all in one here. So what was the next part of the news, Rex?
So this is some good news. COD
Great
partners.
News.
COD partners with the Esports Engine. Adam Epicella's company, basically the new MLG.
Let's go.
And Call of Duty League is now listening to the community in that regard and using Esports Engine.
So what do you guys think about the broadcast quality this weekend?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was great. Vanguard was really entertaining.
I was gonna say, I think that like the only thing that like kept it long was just a few
On
equipment
stage delays. Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with the broadcast. So I mean, that's just PCs.
I mean,
and
that's a
stuff.
huge improvement from before. There was still quite a bit of time in between matches.
Yeah.
Excuse me, in between matches, but I don't know if that was probably because of the broadcast team. I think that was more just because of first event of the year, getting things organized with the game itself. But yeah, I mean, for a kickoff event, I mean, that was about as smooth as you can ask for when it comes to broadcast, the look of the whole screen and the overlays and getting the cameras for the player cams working and all of that type of stuff. So that was exciting to see. The LAN experience was great. The next test will be the online portion here heading into the league play for stage 1.
Yeah.
True.
The one thing I will say is maybe it was just me and maybe like I had like poor stream quality, but I feel like the players' cameras were like in 480p sometimes. Like the player cams, like
they did sometimes look a little foggy or something. Like maybe they're just smudged or something. I don't know.
Yeah, again, maybe that's just me being picky. Maybe that's just me like not having.
Yeah, come on, man.
Just being stupid. But that's my only gripe. Like if that's my only like complaint about
that's all you
production,
got, right?
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
at all.
like, and that's a feature that we didn't even have last year. Last year we had to deal with all the like little just stale pictures, and half the time, literally, we don't even see that because we don't even see the player pictures most of the time. Whenever like last year, rambling here, but yeah, I think overall, huge step in the right direction. They have a lot more planned already. Carson, the guy, the stats guy that we always quote for his stats.
Shout out.
Sadly, that probably means we're not going to get as many stats from him this year for the public's sake, but he is working with Esports Engine on the broadcast now, so I'd expect a lot more in-depth analytics and integration with statistics and overall with the broadcast as a whole, and hopefully integrating more into the YouTube stream and the broadcast they've got going on over there. And I trust Esports Engine a lot more than I do the in-house COD League with Activision at this point.
I'm really wondering then, like, did they just completely cancel like their like team then, like the Call of Duty like?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure.
That would be kind of interesting. But hey.
Yeah, I don't know. But again, huge step in the right direction.
I mean, it is comforting to know that like somebody who's like sponsoring that broadcast and everything, is somebody who is involved in the scene and does, Adam Epicella is active on Twitter. Like he knows what's happening, which is always a plus to have somebody that you can go to
and you trust
about things,
and that you'll see some transparent information about, like on Twitter from him specifically.
Yes.
You'll at least have some sort of information to fall back on as well. So I think all of that combined with the look of the webcams or like the player cams improvements already and those types of things, I think are just all steps in the right direction. And as the year moves along, I'm expecting some pretty dope things to happen for the broadcast.
Yes. Some substitutes some subs. Pentagram.
Yeah, man.
A well accoladed amateur player
There you go.
is on the LA Thieves, which is a big pickup, good pickup for sure for LA Thieves.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's nice to
100%.
see coaches not being the subs for teams anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I mean, like that's the thing. He was on Pentagram's already had success this season with the Pander GodRx Vickle squad. They won Cup 3. And of course, last year with Built by Gamers, so that was the BBG squad with Kismet, GodRx, and Pander. So, I mean, he's had a lot of success recently, and he's been in the scene for a long time, dating back to even World War II. So he deserved a shot in the CDL for sure. And for it to come through LA Thieves with a team where, at least based off last season, he has at least a legit shot to be in the league at some point this year. Mm-hmm. Although after how well they played, I mean, I don't know. But
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quality signing for sure.
More substitute news. Harry is a substitute for the London Royal Ravens.
Yeah, we had already talked about this a little bit, but it became official last week before the kickoff event. But again, I mean, the logic's there. And I would say after this event, it became at least somewhat more likely that he actually sees the starting spot at some point, considering they got body slammed.
Yes. Although, one thing, his Twitter handle, like, I know getting the Twitter handle of like Harry Cod or something might be difficult,
okay.
But his is just like, I just followed him today, but it's at HW Payne, Payne.
Yep.
The number 7.
Yep.
I don't know. Something's got to be done about that. I'm sorry.
I don't mind. I know for a while he used to go. I think he went by Payne for a while, and then he switched to Harry. His name is Harry Payne, so that logic checks out.
Yeah,
that's some Harry Payne there you got there.
It is.
That is. I mean, it's just like not even. It's not even his gamer tag. Not even close to his gamer tag. But, you know.
Well, get it sorted out, brother. What is happening here?
Figure that out. Hopefully that's in the works. So here's some news that
Apox.
Okay, we're skipping that piece of news. The current substitute situation, Zed and Revan are listed as are listed as the coaches, or listed as the substitutes, which, as we all know, are the coaches for their respective teams, NYSL and Boston.
Yeah. Interesting. Yes. I don't know. I mean, at this point, right now, there's only a few more teams that are looking for potential substitutes, I guess. I guess it's something to keep an eye on, whether or not they actually end up signing one. But at least at this point, it looks like they might not.
I mean, it's just a placeholder, let's be honest. I mean, there's nothing to it.
Yeah. No. And that's on the Vanguard CDL channel where it lists them that way, which that could end up changing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, as you were mentioning before, Mike Apox has joined the Paris Legion's coaching staff and assistant coach. Apox
he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
They could use it.
Yes. I'm pretty sure he's like, wasn't he an S&D analyst somewhere? Or maybe that's something he tweeted looking for that or something. Yeah,
well, he's definitely looking for work for a while. But yeah, he's been in the AM scene for a long time at this point. All around like Ghost Gaming and dating back for a long time. And he was he was playing in AW in events. So he's been around for a long time. He teamed with Spacely for a long time, and other guys like Llama God in the AM scene during World War II. I've refed him quite a few times.
Speaking of Spacely, man.
Those types of guys. So I think it's cool. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a really good hire for Paris.
Well, it's not. Yeah, Paris is hiring people.
That's also a big surprise.
They've got 2 coaches.
Yeah, they got to calm down. I mean, my goodness, that's a little bit insane.
And then ranked play. I think we might have talked about this last week, but ranked play is coming in February, according to the COD League.
Yeah, well, yeah, it became officially confirmed. So before it was rumored to be coming in February, then it became officially confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point in February, more than likely, they said that season 2 is getting delayed till mid-February. So we're assuming it's going to happen with the start of season 2, which would be somewhere in 2nd to 3rd week of February.
Probably. And then that's pretty much it for the news for now.
Right.
I'm sure after people watch this, there's going to be a plethora of news that was not covered, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only now it's not really news, but I wanted to talk about it real quick. I thought it was interesting was Fwiz leaving YouTube gaming to go to basically a blockchain, which I think is interesting just in the case of itself that YouTube streams exclusively, or the COD League streams exclusively on YouTube. And Fwiz was, of course, he came up in the COD League with MLG and with Halo. So it was at least a little bit surprising to see him leaving where we had such a direct contact with COD roots to the top of YouTube gaming to be leaving now. I think that at least somewhat impacts, the potential connections for the COD League and YouTube and the owners. And obviously Hex would hang out, Hex and Nadeshot and those guys hang out with Fwiz all the time. So that's at least a little bit interesting. We'll see if that actually has any effect on how YouTube approaches, developing features for streams.
That's kind of what my concern with it is like what's going to, YouTube has been picking up a ton of streamers. And like they're like trying to compete with Twitch in that way. But with Fwiz gone, I wonder if, things are going to
change,
keep going up, or things are going to maybe go down. People are going to start going back to Twitch or something. Kind of who knows what's going to happen in that way.
Yeah,
YouTube was on the rise. They're picking up major contracts.
Oh yeah, and like again, shout out that's with that he left to join a blockchain, Polygon Matic, which is like one of the legit NFT gaming blockchains, and it's a pair blockchain to Ethereum. So I think it's a cool thing for them, and it's cool for like the blockchain and like Web3 space, but also cool for I think interesting for YouTube and effects there. So yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning. But with that said, we're not even 20 minutes into the show, and we're already on to the main topic. This is a record. I think this might be a record. And so without further ado, guys, we got to get into the main portion of this show, which is buy or sell, and breaking down the Call of Duty Kickoff Classic. Without further ado, boys, let's hit it. Okay, so buy or sell. Basically, this is going to be like a different way to frame the Call of Duty Kickoff breakdown conversation. Because, since we're posting this on a Wednesday, we thought, well, people, maybe the breakdown is not as interesting, but we wanted to frame it in a way where you could talk about the longer term impact of what we learned about these teams. So we're going to be throwing out a buy or sell question, and each of us have to decide if we buy that idea or buy that sentence or sell that sentence. If we agree with it, think it's possible, or if we don't. So the first sentence or the first conversation here is buy or sell. The Surge will get to another grand finals this year. Rex, thoughts?
I'll buy that.
Long pause, I respect.
I'd buy it. I think they had a really good showing in the Kickoff Classic, but
better than anyone could have dreamed.
I do think there is a conversation to be had about whether teams should have shown their best selves at this event. Like
and
Surge,
if they even did.
Yeah, like Surge, who may or may not have revealed a lot of like their strats, and they put a target on their back, versus FaZe and OpTic, who may have held back a little more so as to like not give that advantage. I mean,
this was the conversation that we had last week was like, do we think teams are going to give 100% in this tournament? And which teams do we think are most likely to give 100% in the tournament? And Seattle was absolutely in the category of we absolutely believe this team will give 100% this tournament.
And I think they needed to also.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Like they couldn't do bad. Like it's just, that would be a terrible look. But since they were so good, like they got second, it puts a target on their back, but it also gives them some more gravitas in the scene, and people have to kind of fear them a little more and respect them a little more.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but at the end of the day, though, like everyone's putting their best. I feel like everyone's putting their like most competitive foot forward, though. Especially for the first land back.
I think teams are trying, but I don't think. Obviously,
I mean, it comes down to that Gunless tweet.
Yeah, it's like I think there was just like a difference. Like some teams were like, we're not gonna like they're gonna try and win, but they're not gonna like.
Yeah, like it
pull out
sounded
all
like
the
Gunless
stops.
did not think they were putting forth their best foot.
I
And they
guess.
probably weren't.
But,
Like, I
how
wouldn't
much of
blame
that
a
is
team
just
for
being
not.
pissed?
Well, right.
that
How
you
much of that is
lost.
just pure tilt that they lost versus actually giving your best? I don't know, but
I
I
feel
guess
like-
that's part of
Yeah,
it.
I think the tilt more came from just like people really put a lot of weight on this Kickoff Classic.
Fans did, yeah.
Fans put a lot of weight on it. So like when people were losing, like FaZe and OpTic and LAG and stuff, like people were kind of like roasting the players and everything about that. And the players were
Yeah.
like, "Whoa!" 'Cause I don't know if people really took it that seriously last season. Whereas
Is it
this
even-
season,
Even Adam Epicella was like, count this as a chip. you
yeah.
know, which is that's a pretty bold take.
But I mean, what else is he gonna say?
I mean, true. I mean, yeah, he is esports engine basically.
I mean, exactly. I would say most teams gave a pretty good effort. Like I don't think they weren't, but like when it comes to what's your preparation like, are you dialing in on every single strat for this tournament? Are you, are you scouting other teams as they're playing? Are you taking notes? Are you, dialing in on tendencies already from the matches you're scouting them and watching?
I think they were doing that.
Maybe
mean,
they are, maybe they weren't.
How
but
much VOD review do people have of FaZe and OpTic? Not a lot. They've
Exactly,
won one
so-
series. It's like, wow. Like
I don't know.
these
That would be the debate. So when it comes to Surge specifically, I guess the question is like, was this a flash in the pan where teams, is this a
Is this a
TK
Florida?
situation? Ironically, with accuracy, is this a TK situation at the beginning of World War II where they just knew the game better than everyone else at the start and then completely fell off? Kind of
they
like
didn't
Rokkr.
completely fall off. TK were pretty good throughout the year.
Well, they made roster changes to be good.
And I think
But
they
that-
made grand finals or
yeah, but
top
they're-
4.
Yeah, but they didn't have theory on that team anymore. They made roster changes. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the original team fell off.
But then also
But-
too, like, this could be Florida from last year. Florida beat FaZe last year, and then where were they all year? You know,
Yeah. I mean, Rokkr in Modern Warfare,
Mhm.
Where they literally
Guerrillas
completely
and-
fell off afterwards.
Yeah.
So there's a world where we can't act like this is a guarantee. But I can't sit here and not say I was not impressed by Pred
No,
and Sib
100%.
and Mac and the whole squad. I mean, it was incredibly impressive. I talked about it in my power rankings, and right now I think if we're having a tournament tomorrow with 200K on the line, they're one of the top 3 favorites for sure. Undoubtedly, they played a fantastic Call of Duty, but I'm going to come off like a doubter and a quote unquote hater, but I'm going to sell it that they won't make another grand finals. But this could change by the time we see them. I could change my opinion by the second week of stage 1. If they come out and they're absolutely frying in group play, then things could change. But I think they're going to come back down to earth at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I think my bold take can still apply here. Is that they're gonna come back down to earth. They're gonna
Rise
Scapegoat.
again though.
they're gonna scapegoat accuracy. Tom Gravity's gonna come on, and they're gonna be good again.
I don't think they're going to skip. I mean, maybe we might perceive it, but the coach, Phoenix, he probably gave the best coach interview that we've seen. Like
That was great.
And the way he tweets, he does these Twitter spaces, like he's involved. I think he knows what he's doing, and I really respect the guy, and like he won't talk bad about it. Like, so I don't think he's gonna be like, I'm scape. Like, actually, he was clearly the problem for our team. I think they're gonna try and make that team work as best they can for as long as they can.
I mean, yeah, like when I say scapegoat, I'm not saying like they're just gonna blame it on accuracy. I guess it's more just like he's the odd one out there.
Yeah, it's like, well, eventually, if they never make a roster change, it's
Mhm.
gonna be accuracy.
Yeah, and again,
I
like, with,
mean,
like
like-
Tom Gravity being like
That would be the logic.
probably the best AR in the challenger scene right now, makes sense.
But then
So-
you lose your veteran leadership there.
So I'm gonna buy this, but I'm gonna buy it with saying it's gonna come from a different roster.
Crazy. You're sticking to your original bold take.
I
You're a
am.
mad lad. You're a savage.
I'm a savage.
You're a savage, man.
I didn't think actually that bad. I thought he did pretty. I thought he was pretty good.
No, he played great.
I'm not saying he played bad. I'm saying there's a very high possibility that like Josh said, they're gonna come back down to earth and they're not going to be performing as well as they did.
By like stage 3 or something.
Again, like I'm going to reference Florida because Florida was in the same scenario.
Though.
Oh yeah, it is.
You're just throwing out the narrative that you think is at least possible.
Yes.
Yeah. They're going to hit
Right.
walls.
And I mean, it's not like we didn't see them get absolutely obliterated in the final map there. I mean, Toronto completely obliterated them.
I mean, it was a 100-point club, wasn't it?
Yeah.
100 points.
Yeah.
Wild.
I think overall, very impressed with Pred, very impressed with Sib. The question is like, do teams start catching up a little bit? And I think logically, you have to say yes. Teams are going to try harder when the league fully starts. Try harder I mean in preparation and in creating strats, not to mention film review. And this is the first time that we saw Search and Destroy from any of these teams. The first time that a lot of these teams ever played control against the team that they played control against in the first round, because these teams didn't scrim the teams they were playing in round 1. So like, I imagine OpTic wasn't scrimming LAT or Paris, and FaZe wasn't scrimming Seattle or London. And so like, this is what we talked about in last week. And I think I might have like directly said this, was if FaZe was going to lose, it made sense that they would lose in the first match.
Yeah.
Because as things get closer to a grand final and as they get more reps in, they're not going to lose. And so it ended up happening, which was crazy. Because I mean, obviously I didn't actually believe that was going to happen, but pretty insane either way. So
well, actually, some piece of news I think we kind of forgot to mention was Simp on maybe his Twitter or Reddit, but he was talking about the bloom, and it was between having the stippled grip versus the I'm blanking, fabric grip.
Yeah, fabric, yes.
And people were using the fabric grip, but so online fabric was the play. That's what you should be using.
Well,
but
it was split. I think Simps thought it was like 25% were using fabric.
Okay, so, but then on LAN, he seemed to think that fabric was causing a lot of bloom, and I think some other pros chimed in. I think Bance chimed in saying, "Yeah, I had to switch mine mid map to stippled because
he did.
The bloom was crazy with having the fabric." So that's something to be said there.
Simp also went on Reddit and said like, I mean, it could have just been that they were actually apparently practicing on scrims and behind the stage on a different patch than the one that was on main stage for some reason. And so he said that's possible that could have affected things as well, but he's not sure. So he said he also might could have been shooting burgers, but and doesn't have thumbs.
But when other people chime in and kind of agree with them.
No, yeah, I think there might be some legitimacy
like
to
the
that.
people who won the tournament, Bance even said, I changed mine in the middle of the map.
That's so crazy to me because I've always felt like stippled is so much better than fabric. So I'm surprised. I'm shocked to hear that he was using it. But crazy.
Who knows? That'd be kind of weird if like, I wonder what that is. But anyways.
No, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
Any other thoughts there on like the Seattle situation and how they played? I mean, how did you guys feel about the sustainability of Pred and Sib, and what were your thoughts?
Great.
I talked about it a little bit in my power rankings video today, but so I want to hear what you have to say.
I mean, me personally, I was incredibly impressed.
Except for accuracy. You didn't think accuracy was very good.
He was. I mean, I tend to err on the conservative side when it comes to most things, except for London Ravens. Which
of course
we'll get to that later because I was extremely disappointed. I think Pred specifically is going to be a top dog all year.
Yeah, he was really impressive, man. I mean, his slaying, he played like a grade A slayer, like especially in that one Gavutu match against FaZe where he like pushed out into their spawn, which is slang, and they couldn't find him, and they were like really trying to deal with him, and they couldn't. So like those type of things were really impressive, and some of his plays in Search and Destroy and how he was pushing up for map control, and I think finessing his life very well showed a lot of maturity in his gameplay, so
which is awesome too.
Because very impressed.
We even talked about like, well, he's coming from the Australian scene. Like, who knows if he can be, even be good or not? And it turns out he's phenomenal. So it's like makes you wonder too, like how many other of those Aussies should be coming over here and taking. I mean, we had been kind of taking notice of Renegade's lack of dominance this year after he left.
And so there is, I think, something to him might just being a potential
Just being
game-changing
amazing. Yeah.
player. And if that's the case, then there's a world where the Surge never fall back down to being a top 6 team. It's possible these guys are just legit, which is very possible.
We
But
didn't even talk
Toronto-
about our breaking point GG standings.
Oh,
I
do
did
you have
not
them in
do
front of
so-
you?
I mean, I have mine in front of me. I can
mine's
look
terrible.
everyone up. Mine was terrible. Well, I picked up Simp, Pred, Neptune, and Capsidal.
My big pickup was Abizi, and he didn't really show out. So
Well, Simp got the second lowest KD of the
KD
whole thing.
overall, yeah.
And they only played one series too, which was like, did not help. You know, you think I thought Simp was my guarantee pick. I spent a lot of money on that guy. It's like $10.
Yeah.
But my rank was 2,586.
Where do you even see that on GG?
You have to search your name. What was,
Yeah.
Did you use under your Twitter handle?
Yeah. Bash Bo3, you beat me. You got 2,021.
Oh, yeah. What do I get as my prize, boys?
What'd you get?
So 273rd.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. Nero, Shotzi, Dave Patty, and Celium, brother.
Yeah.
That team was nasty.
Super solid pickups there.
That's a solid team right
Dashy
there.
got a lot of points, almost 34 points.
All of those garbage S&D points. He was in like 3 1v4s.
Yeah.
Just getting free kills all out there. But no, yeah,
Okay,
we'll
so
talk
at
about that in a
least-
second, I guess.
They have 3,512 players.
Hey, you know, you
Just
weren't
hitting it
the
last.
bottom of the barrel. Yeah, we'll talk more about them in a second, though. So I think let's move on to the next one, which is buy or sell. LA Thieves would beat OpTic Texas if they played a best of 9 series before the start of stage 1.
I didn't realize how much of a vibey team the Thieves was going to be.
Oh, they're
honestly.
vibey, man. I mean, come on, dude. You knew they were vibey. It's Octane and
I mean, like,
Kenny.
part of me is like, yeah, but before going into the season, you know, I was kind of like, you know, Kenny hasn't shown up, you know, a ton. Octane's kind of had some, you know, ref-ins.
Oh, by
Envoy.
vibey, you mean just good.
Yeah, well, just like, but like, also just like
'Cause
more
they're
like
vibey.
a collaborative effort.
Chemistry.
Yeah. Well, I think the S&D is what I underestimated.
Mm-hmm. But
They,
man, yeah,
they
they
look
were
very good.
very
Octane,
good.
you've got to forget how good Octane is with a sniper
I know,
until he
yeah,
starts
when-
sniping.
When he brought it out, I'm like, I forgot Octane was
Yeah,
good
dude.
at sniping, dude.
I know. It's like, man, you really forget quick how good he was in BO4.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah,
But-
I mean, Scump didn't have the most outstanding of series.
No, Scump played bad on Gavutu.
Yeah, I
And the
mean,
map was still close.
yeah, it's very unfortunate. Dasha again is getting the same high KD, but
They lose.
whether it's
I
right or
mean-
not, I don't even like know what I'm trying to say. He like
Well, I was just
reinforced
gonna say-
people's opinions.
Yeah, bad opinions of him.
Yes.
I was just going to say that the S&D baffled me. It like how bad they were in those first like 4 or 5 rounds of the S&D. They almost brought it back. It ended up being tied like what 4-4. They were down like 4-0 or something. But like those first 4 or 5 rounds was like, what are they doing? It was like they
it was Desert
Dashy was
Siege,
in an
right?
island all by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just every time. And then he was left alone like 3 different times in a 1v4 in like the first 5 rounds. You're like, what is happening? I was just
They
so
almost-
confused
They
that
almost
Ilya
were
was
just, like, relying.
sniping
Yeah.
when Dashy was
Hold
the
on.
one playing the island player on the left side of the map. Like
Okay.
usually
okay.
your guy sniping is the guy who's playing the island.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, but instead Ilya was the one who was sniping and playing with, quote unquote with
Mhm.
Scump and Shotzi. And so
Yeah.
you're like, I was just confused why they didn't try to switch that up with Dashy playing the island like
Yeah,
he
for
was.
whatever reason, they had a lot of trust in Dashy to get a
Ace.
to get a first blood or whatever
A
on that side of the
1v4.
map. But you know, the way Thieves were playing, it just didn't allow that. So
No.
they must have had some strategy going into it, and then it just completely collapsed. And then they didn't really adjust.
Or they just suck at Desert Siege.
I mean, possible too.
But again, that's the thing is that we're judging OpTic off of one S&D map,
Yes,
you know, 2 hard points
that's
and a
the
control.
hard thing with the kickoff. You know, it's
Yeah. Teams who lose, you can see one map of each of those game modes. Like London, we saw one map of each game mode, you know? Like, you can't learn that much about their team. It's like, who knows how good they are at the other maps? Like, what if they're what if they're the best team in the game on a certain map? You just have no idea.
Yeah.
Here's
So
the
it's
thing, though. OpTic, I don't think OpTic showed up to like win the whole thing. I think they, like, you know, we talk about people going super, super hard, which I think Surge is one of those people. Like, they kind of wanted to win that whole thing. Whereas OpTic, I don't think their whole goal in mind is to win it all. I think they were just.
You don't think so with the fans there? I feel like they wanted to show out.
No, I don't.
I don't think with OpTic it mattered that much. I think that's kind of a wash. I think it's more that it could come from their preparation specifically, but like they weren't streaming scrims. Like I feel like they were trying to dial in a little bit here.
Well, they
like
are, but this is still just more scrimming for them. I mean, you got to remember who their coach is too, which is Rambo, which I think OpTic is a well-prepared team.
That is the thing about S&D is I wonder if they maybe weren't trying to show anything for Search and Destroy. That's very possible.
That's what I think.
So if you're thinking from a strictly S&D perspective,
I don't think we saw the true OpTic at the event.
Because the S&D was so questionable. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah. I think they were kind of maybe testing things out, just trying things. And who did they play first? They played, I mean, and no matter who OpTic, and they're playing Thieves. And Thieves are obviously going to go harder to beat OpTic than they would.
I mean, I don't know. I do somewhat get that storyline of certain teams, but
I think that's kind of an overblown narrative, though. Because
I don't want to go too far in that. Where
like
it's
in game, they're still making bad decisions.
Yeah, and that they do want to win. You know, I don't.
No, I'm not saying they don't want to win.
I know, but I guess I'm just like I don't want that to be an excuse as to why they lost. They got outplayed and they made bad decisions.
True.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
I agree with that. I mean, there was just a lot of different moments there. So I guess, so Rex, where would you be on the buy or sell narrative here?
I don't think I think I would sell that. I think OpTic would win.
Okay.
A best of 9 series versus Thieves.
I would probably agree.
But if it's quote unquote,
if there's a full tournament.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see them play not on Desert Siege because there was something off about how they played Desert Siege.
They might have played their worst maps when they went. They might have purposely picked maps that they weren't good at.
I mean, that's possible as well. I mean, yeah, maybe they picked maps that they're not very comfortable with because they wanted to see how other teams played on it. That's possible. Like, if you're like, we want to see how LA Thieves plays Desert Siege, let's pick it, That's possible.
Oh.
Or let's not veto it and then they pick it, So that's an option for sure. I would also lean sell there, I think. I think in a best of 9, I would trust that OpTic roster to get it done. And if we saw a bigger map pool when everything was on the line there, but it'd be interesting. I don't think that'd be a gimme. I mean, LA Thieves is the real deal. I think they're going to be a solid team this year.
Okay. Do we want to break down Rambo's tweets here? Just,
what are his tweets?
And I'm not saying he's wrong or right for maybe how he approaches coaching, but so before they played, he says, excited to get things going with the squad today. Looking forward to the journey this year is going to bring and going through the necessary process to be a championship winning team. Happy to have you guys along with us for the ride. Let's get this. So there is, that very much symbolizes
long-term perspective.
Is long-term perspective, which we've known in the past with the Empire, like with Krim and Clay. He said, like, they are trying to manipulate the wave, right? Of like their peak, like their peaks and valleys. And so you don't want to hit your peak at this thing, like, because eventually you're going to hit a valley. Like, that's just how COD works.
Right. Because the teams are gunning for you. They're taking your strats.
Yep. And then when he tweets after they lose to Thieves, GG's to Thieves, they played very well. Props. Was nice to get our feet wet and get a feel for the game on LAN. A couple more weeks of prep before the season gets to where we want to be for stage 1. Much love for the support, fam. Always looking forward. So there's nothing about like, upset about how he played or disappointed in how he played. I think they went in with the idea of not casual, but experimenting,
learning mindset.
Maybe. Experimenting,
a learning mindset.
Learning, like, and you're not so concerned about winning or losing, but more of just getting good information. And
That's
good
also true.
practice
Is there
out of
also
it.
is it worth reading into though that in their tier list before the event they tier listed LA Thieves and Paris in the in the lowest tier of all the teams in the B tier, which was the lowest they ranked anyone?
I didn't watch
they-
the thing, but they're
So
going to
they
put
thought-
Thieves at the bottom list of it because for the memes, I think. But
I mean, to be fair, also other players were saying that Thieves weren't playing well before the event. Like Simp said that, and others said that. So like that might have just been in the actual thought of players going into it. But
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they were underestimating Thieves a little bit, and it came back to bite them. But who knows? I mean, at the same time, when you watch the matches, Thieves just played a lot better, and they didn't make mistakes when it mattered. Like in the hard point.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And a man
We'll see.
Draza showed out too. So that's
and your man Draza looked good, man.
Dude, Draza is great.
Yeah, that was an impressive. That control was that against Toronto. That looked really, really, really good. I think I'd have to pull up my notes here, but yeah, he was frying.
right.
Yeah, that was the Toronto control. He went 38 and 20 and 27 non-traded kills in that game, and looked fantastic. That was one thing I had in my notes. Is like that was the thing about LA Thieves is all of them had like one map or one series where each of them individually looked really, really good. It was like kind of Kenny versus OpTic. Draza had moments versus OpTic. Draza had that control versus Toronto. Envoy was dominating against Paris on Tuscan. Octane was sniping and dominating in the on Desert Siege. So I think there's a lot of optimism about LA Thieves here. I would see them as a top 4 team right now.
Yeah. I'll be honest, when this was read, I was thinking you worded it the opposite way. So I'd actually buy this statement that Thieves
LA
would
Thieves
beat.
would beat OpTic.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
wait.
right.
Oh, baby. Love that from you.
Well, it depends
Absolutely.
what we mean before the start of stage 1. I mean, I guess.
Like if they played a best of 9 series today in the grand finals of a tournament for $100,000.
Does it count towards champs or anything?
Sure.
Okay, then yeah. So in Major 1, if they were to play a best of 9 series, I think
You're going
OpTic
hard
would
on
win.
this mindset thing.
the
aren't you?
logistics of this. Yeah.
Well, because it matters.
Fair enough. So, all right. Well, next one up here is an interesting one. Buy or sell. The Toronto Ultra are now the favorite to win stage 1.
That I
mean,
think's true.
Yeah, bye.
I think Ultra were also like quasi experimenting, but I think they ended up winning because they are actually that good.
Yeah, I think their teamwork just carried right over, man. I mean, they were.
My goodness, they answered every question anyone could have possibly had about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was insane.
I mean, yeah, they took care of Florida, which again, Florida beat LAG, and LAG didn't look good. So, say what you want about that. There, the Thieves game went to game 5. So, but then they 3-1 Surge, and then they actually dominated Surge on last map too. So
literally roundhouse body bagged them in the final in Berlin.
I want to see
so-
what the score line was for this.
if we're going with trends, I think they're still right there. I would love to see them play FaZe, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, again, Thieves was literally 2 points away from beating Toronto, though. I mean,
which is crazy.
it was 250-248 on Tuscan, which where I'm showing right now. Like, that game was insane. And they were right there. And Envoy, all he had to do was just sit in the hill and they would have won. But he was playing you and they ended up losing because of it, which is insane. So it's like,
The
that
lone
is
wolf.
literally going to be one of the best hard points of the whole season that we got in the kickoff. But I think Toronto's the real deal, man. I really, really do. I mean, they answered every single question we possibly could have had. Like, they dominated in control, which is carrying over from last season. They looked fantastic in Search and Destroy. We even got to see Cammy snipe again, like back to MW Piccadilly Cammy. And then we even saw them play very well in hard points and come up clutch when it mattered and dominate a hard point in a grand final. Like what they did
CleanX.
against, like what they did against the Rokkr in the grand finals in stage 5. And CleanX looked great. Bance fried. Like every question we could have possibly had about them was answered.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Bance was, I mean, again, KD isn't always the answer here, but Bance having a 1.02 is phenomenal because considering I think he was hovering around like a 0.9 something last year,
And like he was full on in Slayer mode in the grand finals. I mean, Vance was great.
He was.
Yeah, no, I
still got it.
I really hope we see this team see success because their teamwork is obviously just on point. I mean, last year you can't say it. They didn't have great teamwork. They obviously just couldn't break through that phase.
There's probably not a team that deserves to win this type of tournament more than them.
Mm-hmm. So
it's really cool.
I'm very excited. I mean, I think it also kind of helps to like where you have a guy like Hixie on your sub list, and at any moment he could probably potentially take over a spot. Work hard. So I think that's going to make them all work hard. So,
but man, that Toronto Ultra, like they're doing everything like right. Like they have like such a great chemistry, great teamwork, the right composition of players, a good bench. Like
I don't understand how someone can be so cracked but so calm. Like Toby. I mean, my goodness, CleanX, like in those listen-ins, he's just out there cooking, and he's just like calling call outs like they're nothing. Like, oh my word! If I was doing that, I would be screaming. I would literally. I'm Clay. I want to scream when I'm frying, but my goodness, Toby is just out there frying and just like top church fire.
Ultra's
consistency
is unreal, and it's amazing to see that.
They got a good mentality, man. I mean, every time I watch them, I'm like, I root for them more. And like last year, that's why they became like one of my favorite teams after I was doubting them after stage 2 if they could keep it up or not, which could very well happen with Seattle if the same thing happens here, where like I doubted Toronto for like about 2 weeks after stage 2, and I'm like, oh no, they're the real deal here. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I'm on board. Get me on this train. Did I miss it? And
there's no real egos on that team either. I mean,
no. Bro, Insight, by the way, this dude, I love his energy. He walks out and he's just like, bring the booze, boo me. Like it's great. I love everything about that from Insight, man.
Man, do you guys remember Insight's play on Raid?
Oh my gosh. That's what we brought up every time we talk
I'll
about
never
Ultra.
forget it, dude.
Yeesh.
I was like, you're so good.
Oh my word.
One bad play and Rex like thinks he's the worst player of all time.
I don't think he's the worst player, but it just shocked me. He's supposed to be so good.
It's comedy.
I was like, whoa.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so that is interesting. I mean, I guess I will also buy that. I think they're the favorites right now. I mean, you could argue that FaZe still deserves to be the favorites, depending on how you feel about how they actually tried hard or not in this tournament and what you believe about them bouncing back. Because I mean, like, realistically, we're not going to talk too much more about FaZe. I think all of us believe they're going to bounce back.
Yeah.
100%.
But I guess that would be the debate, is whether or not FaZe deserves to be there still. But they lost to Seattle, so I don't think you can really say that they're the world favorite now for stage 1. So
as of right now, correct.
Here's the next one.
Here, I have some things to maybe say about FaZe. I'm seeing semblances of what we kind of saw in Modern Warfare, and what I was talking about in Warfare. It's like FaZe was, obviously they could slay really well. Like, I mean, maybe not so much this one, but like you could see how just aggressive they are. And sometimes it's just like it's so brain dead at times.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just trying to break hills 24/7. It feels like it's just so quick. But
yeah, it works on Bo Cage.
Like,
they destroyed Seattle on Bo Cage.
Yeah, but it's like, but the intelligence almost goes away. And that's what we were seeing in Modern Warfare also. And when they were losing in Modern Warfare, I think that's why. And we might be seeing it again.
I'm very confident it'll be fine. I mean, they figured out squad spawns pretty quick, and they had every chance to win champs, but they lost a little bit of composure in the grand finals. So I think they'll be, they're a little bit more composed nowadays, All right, next one. Smokes. Buy or sell? Smokes should be GA'd.
Sell that. Screw that.
Speaking of FaZe, this dates to the conversation that Simp had the second that Draza had the 2v1 clutch inside the smoke on Bocage against Toronto.
How many times would we even see that move pulled out? Once?
Twice. I know Bance used
twice.
it too.
Yeah.
Draza and Bance? Twice. I mean, whatever. Keep smokes. I want to keep snipes.
Is there? So I mean, that's the second part of the question is.
It happened very rarely. I don't know if people were purposely not doing it or something, but those players did. Or, if it's so broken, you would think everyone would be doing it, but they didn't. So I don't know.
I think it's just more of like a scum thing. Like,
yeah, Simp was saying it's somewhat GA, and then Kenny came back at him about snaking with Cellium in MW and Modern Warfare or in Cold War.
Yeah, which of course Scott probably did that.
Then that pissed off Simp, and then that's when Kenny said this convo's not going anywhere.
How do we feel about the argument of like you can do it too?
Phase up.
Right, and that's what all the comments were saying. So that's why Simp said, "I'm here before the you can do it too" comments arrive. Right when he tweeted that.
Yeah. So how do we feel about that argument? Think it's a valid argument?
Personally, unless it becomes like a major problem where it's like, I mean, again, only one person can have a smoke, so I guess at most it could happen once per round for each team. But
and even then, like it's not gonna happen every round either.
Yeah, so I mean,
it happened twice. Like it never happened. But
right, but I mean, again, I think right now it's a somewhat unspoken GA situation with that. Is that a lot of pros don't see hoping that people weren't going to do it. We also saw a lot of teams not even use smokes and snipers. It happened a few times as well, where teams I think had some internal GAs between each other, not use them. At least that's what it looked like because that happened in the Florida series and LAG. There was no snipers, and then one other one as well. Can't remember exactly.
But no, I mean, I just smokes and snipes. Smokes.
They have to stay.
I think. What do you think's going to happen? I think they're going to get GA'd.
I think so too. I mean,
you think snipes will get GA'd?
I think smokes will get GA'd.
I think smokes will for sure get GA'd, and then we're gonna have to decide. Then they're gonna have to decide if snipers are too OP. So maybe they'll play with it for stage 1 and see what happens, and then they'll decide. I think that's what's gonna happen. I hope it doesn't, but I think that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, how many times did we see a smoke even used for like a sniper crossing? Did that happen very often?
It happened it happened quite a few times on Desert Siege.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Siege.
Not as much on Bocage, because there wasn't as much sniping on Bocage, and then there wasn't as much on Tuscan either. We saw it once or twice from Seattle when they were playing against Cammy, when Cammy was sniping in that on Tuscan. But yeah, so we'll see. I obviously hope. I also will sell that smoke should be GA'd. But
I mean, they shouldn't be GA'd, but I think they will be.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat too. So, all right, next one is LA Guerrillas will not be seen as a top 5 team before the start of stage 4.
By that. Are they seen as a top 5 team now?
I mean,
no, definitely not.
Yeah, but is that a bit of an overreaction?
Exactly. Or is this an overreaction? People were very high on this LAG team after the roster announcement. A lot of people thought this was going to be a top 5 team almost for sure.
I didn't.
Well, yeah, same. I don't think any of us did. But, I mean, what would the line have to be for you to think maybe yes? I mean, I guess how about this? Will the LA Guerrillas, buy or sell? The LA Guerrillas will not be seen as a top 6 team before the start of stage 4.
Buy that too.
Crazy. What are your thoughts?
FaZe, OpTic, NYSL, Surge, Breach, Ultra.
But we're looking at the improvement.
Again, this is a slashers team though.
Can they improve?
I mean, I'm not going to say they can't improve. They very well might improve. I just think, I think there's a lot of other teams that have shown more potential to be in that top 6 spot than they have.
I mean, yeah, we only saw them play one match, obviously.
Right.
So it's it does feel like a little bit of an overreaction. And based off Gunless's tweets again, he didn't think that they were putting their best foot forward when it came to taking this seriously.
I think they're going to be a top 5 team. I think it's an overreaction to say they're not going to be. Yeah, they didn't perform well, but these 4 players are very capable, very smart players.
Do you think they're
And-
going to be a top 5 team?
Yes.
Top 6 is the line.
Okay. Do you think they're going to be a top 6 team?
Yes.
So give me the teams. Give me the teams.
By
who
the
are ahead
time
of
this
them.
is like at some point before the start of stage 4. Like,
Who's below them? Like,
I think they could be better than Paris. I think they can be better than Rokkr. I think they can be better than Breach. I think they can be better than Florida. I think they can be better than Ravens. I think they can be better than OpTic Texas.
oh no. You madman.
the Breach one.
I mean,
I can see the argument for the Breach one, but
if we're going with
Texas, man.
if we're going with trends, an OpTic team versus a slasher team, which one gets better over
Right.
time?
No, for sure. Generally,
You forget
OpTic
Rambo's
peaks.
is the coach. Rambo and Sender.
he is the coach.
He is, but you know how much of coaches are making that much of an impact right now.
Yeah,
I think
mean,
on Seattle they're making a significant impact. I think on Empire, Rambo is making a significant impact.
I was already low on this roster heading into this, so I'm definitely a little bit more skeptical of this. I think there's a lot of potential with this roster, and we saw Hook looking like Hook. I mean, he had some really good moments, and especially in S&D, and he had some nice moments of securing hard points on early rotations and finding first bloods in S&D. Of course, there's always those times, I mentioned this in a video, where like, there's always those times where he's Hook and he gets caught and gets first blooded because he's trying to make some really nice play, which happens, and I think that's part of the whole Crim check the mini-map thing. But at the same time, he's such a playmaker in Search and Destroy that sometimes he'll literally win rounds for you, which he did at times, even against just Florida. So I don't know. I think there's definitely an overreaction of people saying they're never going to be top 6 team. I think at some point they're going to play pretty well. So I'm going to say I'm going to buy it because before stage 4, I think for at least one stage, they're going to have a time where they're a top 6 team, but I'm not sure if they can maintain that consistently. I'll buy it.
Okay, since you put it that way, I guess I could see them having a spurt. I'll buy it. Sure.
We converted them.
A spurt that makes like I could like that fits the narrative I have in my head of that team. A spurt.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right, next one, buy or sell. Outside of Sib and Pred, Capsidal will be the best rookie of the current 7 this season.
All right, let's go through what are the rookies' names? I need Nero, Sib, Pred, Capsidal.
Nasty, Gizmo, Dave Patty.
Still.
What? What are you
Wait,
saying?
me?
You sounded really confused.
He's selling it. He's selling it.
Oh, I thought you said like Cellium.
That's what I was
like,
saying.
what?
What are we talking about?
No. I was saying sell because I was so confident.
Okay. Oh yeah.
in
Fire away,
Afro.
Sam. Yeah. Take your point. Take your point.
Well, my point was Afro, but
He's ain't no rookie, brother.
he's not a rookie right now.
Come on,
So,
man.
Man, you
I
gotta
know.
feel so shafted if you're like a Hydra or an Afro. It's like you don't even get a full season to try and win like a best rookie or a rookie
Well,
of
see,
the
that's
year.
my thing is like I feel like Afro should be still considered a rookie.
I know you kind of feel like he deserves it.
I mean, he had
How
one
many-
stage.
Yeah, it's like
It sucks.
guy
Well,
got
like
shafted
1.5
of a rookie
stages.
year.
Like, well, good luck. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it is what it is. I don't know. I mean, Capsidal obviously had the moment. He was playing really bad before that moment on Berlin where they ended up winning the map.
Yes, Capsidal. I was thinking this earlier too. I'm like, it seems like like some rookies need to come in and even I think Sib at first, like he was not playing very well
Yeah.
until they broke through that mental barrier and they're like, holy shit, I can compete with these guys, and then they start shredding, and that's what happened with Capsidal.
Interesting. So you
There
think,
you go.
so would you buy this? I think Sib and Pred right now, it's hard to, I mean, right now they're far and away to quote unquote best rookies, but like it's been one event, so it's hard to say. But Capsidal, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean,
What we've seen so far, I think
we
yes.
saw 5 maps. He
When we
played bad in like 2 of them.
He
Played
was
great in 1 and played pretty good in the other 2.
I think yes.
Why did his MP40 shoot so different?
I mean, that thing was shooting nukes on
Like,
Berlin,
2
man.
bullets, and it was just like
Yeah.
they died. Whoa.
It was
And,
insane.
I have faith in my London roster. I think Nasty is going to be a top rookie, so I'm going to sell this still.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the whole vibe is interesting. I was almost, at least in S&D, I was more impressed with Nero than I was with
Dude,
Capsidal.
actually, Nero was great too. Nero was really good in S&D.
Yeah. So I was really impressed with him in S&D for sure, especially. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I would probably sell it just because of the logic of the odds of, you know, I'll pick the field, you know, the rest of the guys, the other four that to give me my odds. But, and honestly, Dave Patty, I really played pretty well too. I mean,
he did,
especially in Search and Destroy. He looked great on Berlin. They played 2 Berlins and he looked fantastic. So I'm gonna go with a sell. Pick the rest of the guys. Fair enough. I think these are some good conversations. The next one is, it's the one. Buy or sell. It's time to panic about the London Royal Ravens.
Sell. Come on.
Sam.
Come on. Overreaction. If you think it's time to panic about London Royal Ravens, you are overreacting. They played a very hot Seattle the first game, and it was a kickoff event.
They got 3-0'd by Seattle.
I'm not willing to.
Seattle wasn't hot until they 3-0'd them.
I'm not
then
panicking.
they hit the hot button.
I'm not panicking. Again, FaZe lost their first game last year, and people started panicking, and that was stupid.
I wouldn't say I'd panic about the Ravens yet. I think they still have a decent roster, but I think they have work to do.
Yeah, I agree. This is more of a let's give this roster a stage before I get excited about them. You know, I think this is a house that you buy for, you know, half the price. You put in a new kitchen, you put in some new roof, you paint the walls, and then suddenly this thing is pristine. A king could move into this castle, you know?
Yeah.
But I think eventually this team's going to be in a good spot, but you got to give it a little bit of time.
When London Ravens get top 4 in Major 1, you're going to be looking silly.
I'll clip it. Clip it, chat.
Clip it. Clip it and ship it. London Royal Ravens are going to be top 4 Major 1.
Wow, that is a bold. You were coming out with all the fire.
I don't think that's true, but
I just, you guys.
I like your eternal confidence.
It is time to maybe reevaluate and maybe reconsider some.
The maps weren't that bad. I'm watching the Bocage right now with the recording, and you know, in my notes, I definitely was like, all right, let's not overreact about London here. They played it close, and Seattle made the grand finals. You know, like, I don't think it's logical to overreact like that at this point. I mean, Zero would have been the guy to talk about here, where he definitely struggled in that series. And whether or not we think that Zero, if this affects Zero's chances of being on the roster heading into like stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, somewhere in there. But we saw the potential we saw the playmaking of Afro in that series. He looked great on both Bocage and Berlin. We got to see a little bit of Nasty and Gizmo, not a lot of them, but we still want to see more from them. And so I don't know. The question is, I think is really Zero.
Yeah, 100%. It's on. I'm hard focusing on Zero with this one. I mean, there's something to be said maybe about the rookies, but since they're rookies, and I'm confident that they do have slaying ability, I think the weight's on Zero right now. I mean, I think he had the worst K stats of the whole thing.
I think he had the worst overall KD of the tournament, if I remember right. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at that.
0.79.
Yeah. Only, you know, the to be fair,
right below Simp.
right below Simp, you know? So this means a lot, right? I mean, embarrassing. How bad? Yeah. Usually when you're in a stat right next to Simp, you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Not the case. So I don't know. I think the jury's still out, but I will have a keen eye on London Royal Ravens in stage 1.
Yeah,
Agreed?
I'm not ready to panic. I'm not. We need more data.
I would sell that as well. I don't think we should be panicking yet, but
Yeah.
I'm squinting a little bit. I'm like, you know, like, okay, I'm gonna watch this a little bit closer this time, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I also think Nasty and Gizmo just like they're gonna break out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the best example of all time would be Shotzi and Illy.
Yep.
If we graded Shotzi and Illy off the first event they ever
Shotzi
played in
had
on
the worst
LAN.
KD on the first LAN.
Yeah, in the first
Shotzi
LAN
had the
that he ever
worst.
played in. So, you know, how much does this really mean? We're here to have a good time talking about it, you know?
Yeah.
But all right. Next one. Is CleanX the front runner now for the MVP?
This is so early.
I know.
I mean, this is what we're here for. We're here to overreact and have a good time. Thoughts, Rex?
I mean, personally, CleanX was great. I thought Cammy was better, but didn't Cammy win it last season?
What?
The MVP?
The
Yeah,
MVP?
Who won
No,
the
Simp
MVP?
won it.
That was Sim.
Oh, well, I think Cammy then.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I mean, CleanX looked really good. I think this game, it matches well with how CleanX plays. We already talked a lot about Toronto.
And
I'm not going to stick on this too long, but we saw like in control there, and we saw, in Cold War, CleanX had some nice moments in control, but my goodness, did he dominate in that control? And I think we could see a CleanX play really well in this game, man. It gets me pretty excited about what he can do.
Yeah. No, I feel like CleanX was the one who showed out today, or for Ultra specifically. I mean, Cammy, of course,
Yeah.
played great, but CleanX definitely popped off. If you were to like put a gun to my head, which Josh tends to do sometimes,
I do,
and say, pick an MVP right now. Yeah, CleanX.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the toughest thing with with Paris is you never really know which of those guys is going to be the guy, you know? Like,
Ultra.
what did I say?
That was funny. You said London,
then you
Paris.
said Paris.
Oh, yeah, Paris, of course.
Europe.
Cammy, of course, those guys. Yeah, so with the Ultra, you never really know who's going to be that guy. And unlike Shotzi in Modern Warfare, you knew he was going to be the guy, you know? We don't really know who's going to be that guy this year. At the end of last year, it was Cammy for Toronto, but throughout the beginning of the year, it was all Insight, and then at times it was CleanX, and then in stage 2 in the finals, it was Bance last year. So I think that's why it's a little bit harder to bank on an MVP coming from Toronto, because they're all so valuable.
Yeah.
But I'll buy it. Why not?
Why not?
All right. The next one is the Rokkr will eventually be a top 4 team this season. How do you feel about the upside of the Rokkr right now? They had a weird event, man.
They had a weird event.
They basically were like, all right, well, we have an interesting matchup here. And then they got sent home.
Major, though.
3-0'd. They got 3-0'd.
Yeah, so, I mean, by the New York Subliners, it was a close series. You know, it's a competitive 3-0. They lost 250 to 242. Outslayed by New York on Bo Cage and still lost. Or they outslayed New York on Bo Cage and still lost. That was a match where Attach and Major Maniac were absolutely dominating.
Major just went off, yeah.
Major was going off. Then they had the Desert Siege, lost 6-3. And then it was a 3-2 on Tuscan Control. So it was a very close series. But, man, it's so hard to tell who the Rokkr are.
Well, then, to Standy, these conversations are way too early, but
Oh, they're way too early. That's the beauty of them.
For sure was like, man, where are you at?
Yeah, he had a few moments of he didn't have the take over the game moment that you think he should have at some point. You know, normally that was the MO for Rokkr, was at some point Standy goes on a 10 spree or an 8 spree, and then suddenly they're right back in it, you know, and he has streaks. I think part of that this year, and maybe this was underrated, we didn't really think about this, is how in Cold War, streaks were so important that one player could potentially bail you out. In this game, streaks are irrelevant. They don't matter. especially right now with the
that's
glide
a
bomb
conversation.
With the glide bomb not being able to kill anyone because of how good Flak Jacket is, whatever it's called. So you can't really take over a game right now with streaks at all in any way. I think the team play almost matters a lot more.
Yes. Okay, good. That's the point I wanted to get to. Streaks are much more strategical now.
I mean, they barely matter, like, at all now.
I wouldn't say they barely matter. There's a lot of zoning that can happen with streaks.
You can use them for information. You can use them to, like, the glide bomb to get info. You can use the airstrike to cut off a lane for like 8 seconds, I guess.
Stop somebody on a point. Like, it's not used to just shred everything. It
ain't no cruise missile, and it ain't no lightning strike.
It's used to create space. It's more. I think it maybe adds a little more depth. That's kind of my hot take. You can't even
kill someone on a glide bomb. You drop it on their forehead.
Yeah, you gotta communicate with the teammates. Like, hey, I'm gonna be glide bombing. There's somebody there. Like, I'm around the corner. So okay, like, throw a nade over there, or like be aware to jump around. Like, get the one shot kill on that guy. Like, everyone's
when
weak.
FaZe lost that hard point on Tuscan, it's like Celium had a glide bomb, but there was no point in even using it because it sucks. So they had to just rush the hill, even though they had a glide that they could have used. It's just like, that's tough, man. So I don't know. Long story short, it's hard to tell who the Rokkr are. And I'm not sure if I'm confident enough to say that they'll be a top 4 team this year, but at the same time, why couldn't they be? I mean, we literally saw Major Maniac dominate in that match. And like, that's who we're wanting to see dominate. And we know Stanley's talented. We know those guys have the talent to do it. And so it's like, what's holding them back from eventually being a top 4 team? So honestly, why not? Screw it. Buy it. At some point this year, they'll finish top 4 in a major.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Oh, what a U-turn. I love that from us.
I think they're a spurt team. I think they're like LAG. I think they're a spurt team.
Yeah, we got a few more here. All right, so the next one's very interesting. This was one that Sam threw in here. Buy or sell. 2 AR players, or AKA 1 flex, 1 AR, will become the more important duo of a team versus the SMGs in this game. Sam, lead the way here. I want to hear your thought, your reasonings, your thoughts for why you'd put us down here. Do you buy it?
I think, some of the stats do tell a story. Like, we do see a lot of the ARs having the higher KDs this events, specifically. But it seemed like, especially in Hardpoint, I think like the game definitely has changed with squad spawning and that kind of thing, where I think your ARs are the ones that are the most important part of holding the hill, where
especially
like they're the ones,
like Gavutu.
Yeah, they're the ones searching, making sure like your surrounding is clear, making sure that they're counting the kills. I think the SMG's jobs are more to basically just flood hill now and try to maintain control
and put pressure on spawns.
Yes, for sure. Pressure and that kind of thing. It just seemed like,
well, AR is definitely more important because like they're probably the one anchoring a good spawn. So everyone's hunting them to try and kill them so that spawn is gone, right?
I would absolutely disagree with this. I think there's no way that SMGs get overtaken. Like the importance of, like we even saw it with Pred. I mean, Pred's presence when pushing for spawns on rotation, pressuring, creating map control away from the hill, like his presence for the Surge was truly their X factor.
Well,
like,
same for Hydra on subliners. I'm not saying it's more important, but I think it just in it itself has just kind of leveled up just the role a little bit.
I mean, I think the argument here would be the importance of having a dynamic flex player, like Sib's ability to be a true flex, and not only that, but snipe in S&D and be a valuable, just literal utility knife type player for a team.
Mm-hmm.
Was obviously crucial to Seattle's success in this game. So that would be, I think, where the argument would lie, is like your flex plus AR could maybe be more could maybe be more valuable at that point because of the value that a flex could bring to a team in a game like this where you have so many maps with the 3 SMG meta.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think everyone's role is equally important.
Cop out. That's a cop out answer.
What a cop out answer. Unreal.
Yeah. No,
You can't win if
it
somebody's
just
not
seems,
doing it.
yeah, obviously like we'll see like the game evolve and, you know, we'll see how it plays better as the year goes on. But to me, it just seemed like the role of the AR has certainly changed in this game where
Compared to Cold War, I mean, like in Cold War, there was barely, flexing barely was a thing.
Absolutely. So and it's gonna be really close, but like if you're able to have an incredibly smart flex or incredibly smart AR that is able to like hunt down, but then also rush into hill when needed, as your SMGs are kind of going crazy, I think that's going to be like your like best player potentially.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe it's just weighing on me that like Toronto's seemingly least impactful player, quote unquote, seemed to be Insight on the day, even though he played very well. But like I just think like SMGs in this game, even on big maps, found so many important angles and places to play around the map that impacted the game. That's
literally what they're supposed to do, though.
Right, exactly. And I think that was almost more impactful than sometimes before. So we'll see.
Fair enough.
But no, I actually like the conversation a lot. We got a few more here. Buy or sell? Will Breach be a top 4 team at stage 1? Rex, you put through this one here. This is a pretty bold take here.
This is putting all your eggs.
I'm going to go and say no, because I just don't think we saw enough to warrant that reaction. Top 6 is kind of more where I would feel that line is fair, considering we just didn't see the top 4 potential at this point. And we saw like flashy plays from Capsidal and interesting S&D from Nero, like we talked about before. But we saw that, you know, some nice moments from Tej even against New York, like the 3-piece on Tuscan and things like that. But I just don't think we saw enough to warrant a potential top 4 at stage 1.
No, I don't think so either. I'd sell it.
Oh, you just threw it in there as a hot take. Fair enough, Sam. Are you on the same boat?
Sell that bad boy.
Any other reasons, or is that kind of all in the same idea there?
If they're top 4 stage 1, I mean, that means Capsule and TJ just are going off.
Nero, yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. So, okay, fair enough.
I don't think it's impossible, but I don't really think that'll happen.
No. I think what we saw, it seemed like they're going to be a fairly consistent, competitive team that's going to be hard to put away. Like, they're going to be a team that fights and is really scrappy. So,
yeah.
All right.
Your dark horses.
Yeah, I think so. The next one here is buy or sell. After watching Vanguard, experiencing it after the kickoff event, do you think that CTF would be a better third game mode than Control?
I mean, I don't know how CTF would play.
Big fat sell
on these maps.
I like Control.
You're an idiot. But I think
what?
I think CTF
Control
would be
so fun to watch in this event.
It's not. I didn't think so.
You're an idiot.
Control is not fun to watch. It never has been.
Dude, Tuscan Control was lit.
4 Control was awesome. I hated it. I hate Control. I just don't like it.
Okay, idiot.
Such a bad
How does
third
that
game
feel?
mode. And CTF wouldn't be that great of a third game mode either, probably. But I think it would be more entertaining if a map was catered to it, maybe.
I mean, the biggest factor too is squad spawns on the flag carrier.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem is this game. I mean, Control has it somewhat figured out now where it's not as hideous and
okay,
Control
it's Control, it's hideous. Let's not get this twisted.
No, it really wasn't that bad. What were you watching? Tuscan?
Was it Tuscan, the one? What's Top Church? That's Tuscan?
Yeah.
So A site is an immediate take. Like, it just gets taken immediately. And then you just play the whole rest of the game until time runs out at B. because they're spawning like an inch away from you.
Well, that's how control works.
But
That's so stupid. Like you can't even control
I kind of get like
it.
what he's saying, where it's like,
Did you see New York in there? New York was lit. Like people are literally going into that B control site and they're just going past it to go over there. And they're literally just running in and trying. They're literally just trying to get as many kills.
So, I mean, obviously you
humanly
take control.
possible
That's what you
and
do on
win,
frequency.
and they're
That's what you do on frequency in BO4.
Like I said, control is a terrible game mode. But they are literally trying to win by just getting the kills because you can't win.
there's definitely favored points, and like there's points
Teams
that
mostly won
they don't
off
even
of
defend.
Zones.
Not on
or
that
zones.
map.
I mean,
Absolutely on that map, they mostly won off capturing B. They didn't win off lives very often. It was fairly, at least fairly split.
we should get a counter.
I would like to see the stats on that. If people are actually capturing that B site, like more often than not,
Plenty
I'd be
of teams
surprised.
captured it.
I mean, obviously a team is going to capture it.
No, plenty of teams captured it.
I would like to see the stats. That's all I'm saying, because that looks incredibly difficult to try and get. Like they're like, it's just a constant flood. It's impossible. If one of you goes down, they're spawning a mile away, and the other team is spawning right next to you. Like, how are you supposed to? You're trying to win off of killing the whole team, not capturing it.
Gut reaction is that the slight majority won by killing the other team, but could be wrong. Could be wrong.
It's the only way that makes sense. Like, obviously trying to you're taking the point, but everyone is going past it, trying to get these people that are flooding, like the enemy that's flooding in right next to it. And they're kind of banking on winning off of all the kills and just getting them down to 0. And maybe they inadvertently capture B on accident.
I thought the strategy was really interesting. You have to push out, spawn them out on the left side back behind Church, and then play for the setups on bomb towards Church and on top plat to look over towards side door and Church, and then play towards top radio. I thought the strats were really interesting. And then your defensive strat is whether you push through mid to try to flank through well, or whether or not you hit through the back. I thought it was really interesting. I really enjoyed watching Control on Tuscan.
I mean, it's a lot of action. It's very fast paced, but I don't think it's set up well.
Trying to find the stats here. I'm not sure if I'm able to find them. I don't think I'm going to see them here. I would sell that. I think overall, I actually really enjoyed watching Control in this tournament. So what's your guys' final answers?
I mean, when it comes down to Control versus CTF, and specifically Vanguard,
CTF, you have to imagine, like, CTF's not playable with squad spawns.
Yeah.
So you have to take it out of the equation.
It's got to be a sell.
I mean, I'm taking squad spawns out of the equation. I would pick CTF over Control.
If spawns were okay.
Yeah, it's just hard when like squad spawns is just a part of Vanguard now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Let's do final one here. Buy or sell. Should OpTic fans be worried?
No.
Buy or sell?
I mean, maybe a little bit, because this is so typical.
Because here we go again. Yeah.
But I don't think it's time to worry yet.
Right. We already kind of had some of this conversation.
We kind of talked about it.
I mean, when it comes to history, usually OpTic's really good right away.
But I think history has changed. They joined with Envy. I have a lot of faith in Rambo as the head coach to really kind of like
my point is
right tone.
Normally Scump dominates at the beginning of the season.
My point is history would say OpTic is the best team in the game the first couple months, and then they go down to like 4th. Here, maybe they're 4th, 5th start, and then they work their way up to 1st.
Yeah,
I guess. Realistically, I think the answer is you can't worry about this team till after stage 1.
Yeah, no,
it's probably the real answer.
Yeah, no, there's no real reason to worry about any team except for maybe Paris. You could probably make an argument for.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's my stance on the kickoff. Is that I just don't know. There's not a lot of data. There's a lot of variables here.
And then there's variables of whether or not teams were actually trying, how much they prepared, let alone the other factors in the game itself and how much they've played and practiced S&D or Control or whatever at this point. So that's why it's tough. I mean, again, but like to your point though, I mean, OpTic won the first event of BO4. They won the first LAN of Modern Warfare. No, they didn't win in Cold War, which maybe goes to your point.
No, they didn't. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Alrighty, fair enough. I guess we'll stick with that for now. I guess the last one here we had as an extra one was, is a roster change coming sooner than later for Paris, buy or sell?
Sell. Paris doesn't make changes.
That's kind of where I'm at. I don't think they're going to make a change because even if they needed to, they're not going to.
Though they did hire a coaching staff. They seem a
That's
little
what I'm
more
saying. It
invested
feels
in
a
the
little
league.
bit different this year. They have a coaching staff. They have analysts. I don't know. Maybe. But Sam, what's yours? I'm going to sell it, but we'll see.
Sell.
Alrighty. Fair enough. So with that said, I guess we can go right into intelligent or irrelevant. Let's go.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
All right, Sam, what do you got for us?
Okay. Out of the 4 teams who lost the first round, which one are you the most worried about when it comes to roster changes / poor performance throughout the year?
Oh, very similar to kind of what we were talking about.
What was it?
Yeah. So out of the 4 teams that lost the first round of the Kickoff Classic, which one are you the most worried about when it comes to roster changes, poor performance year long?
Okay,
Breach,
so I
Ravens,
will root for
Guerrillas,
we'll
or
be choosing
Legion?
Paris.
Sorry, what were the options again?
Oh my word! If I had to repeat
Paris
myself
is the
one more
option.
time. Breach, Ravens, Guerrillas, or Legion?
So the question is if people are actually like really worried about the Guerrillas, or I mean about Paris, like, or if they didn't have any worry beforehand. So
I was gonna
like,
say I think Legion is actually not the right answer because there's no reason to worry because it's just the same old.
That's kind of like I actually think Legion will still be better than we've ever seen Legion.
I think it's going to be
Team B.
Guerrillas or Ravens.
My vote would be Ravens.
your vote, if you were voting on this poll,
Yeah.
I think people will say Guerrillas.
I think people
Yeah.
are going to say Legion.
I think Guerrillas, personally. But
All right, what are they going to say?
I'm going to vote Boston Breach because I don't think anyone's worried about Boston Breach because they played really well.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wrong. 36% say Paris Legion. Oh, sorry. Whoa.
Oh.
I read the graph wrong.
I just clicked on it. Yeah.
38.5% say Guerrillas. 36.9% say Paris. 13.8% say Ravens, which is great because people aren't worried about them because they know they're going to rebound. And then Boston Breach at 10.8%. So I think that's fair. I think in my mind, I wasn't worried about Legion but I think people are probably like taking it more
that's
as
a very
like,
intelligent overall poll from the people.
yeah. So again, our man Desma, always in the comments. Appreciate you, man. I don't even think that the Paris squad is terrible. I just think the league is way too stacked to pick them over any of the others. Bash, I know you love John, and although they didn't look what was the kickoff, I would put my money on them being top 10. No, see, I agree because I think we talked about this like a couple weeks ago. Is that John is put in the position that he has to be a Slayer.
Vance.
And so it's just
That's why, again, this is also, I'm sorry, I completely cut you off.
no, you're good.
But like, it's the accuracy thing. You survive if you surround accuracy with 3 absolute studs,
Yes.
it can work.
Yeah, for some reason they positioned John into where he has to be the young cracked god.
John
of Black
and
Ops
Temp
3.
have to be young cracked gods.
And so I'm just like, come on, guys. But yes, Desma, thank you for the comment. Jake, we got LAG. I think if this squad doesn't work out, whole squad retires except Asim.
What?
Duke maybe goes to Halo or Valorant.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, wow, that's a bold take.
That was a hot take right there, folks.
Yeah. Jonathan says, I'm pretty sure everybody expects Paris to be bad anyway, so I don't think there is any reason to worry. However, with the majority of the year being online, I feel like Slasher's morale might kill LAG.
Okay, that's possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
A slow start here at the LAN, then you move on to online for the next 5 weeks. I mean, maybe.
And
that's a good point. They need to do good at stage 1 major.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think for sure, you know, mentioning Slasher, I think he's just been going through the ringer with like online. So that's a variable.
It is.
Let's see. Hordes. I was going to vote for LAG, but I feel like Paris is the least stacked team. This is now the second year in a row where they've just gotten a pickup squad and expect to be able to compete with teams like FaZe and OpTic and even Seattle. Yeah, kind of true.
Yep.
Last couple three here. John's LAG because Gunless is
Dude,
wants
this is my
to
favorite one.
Okay, whoa.
I'm getting a brain aneurysm looking at it.
Okay,
dude.
here we go, John. LAG because Gunless is wants to for which has and will. Okay, this is for sure on purpose.
Okay,
Unreadable.
LAG because Gunless is wants to for which has and will but not with if you could. Even if shall, if would, can you take for if you do?
I almost guarantee you. I think
That's
you did
totally
the
on purpose.
iPhone thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the
LAG.
iPhone thing. That makes sense. I was like, what?
That's what, dude. Props to you, John. That was amazing.
John's
Oh my
always
gosh.
there. He's always there.
Okay, last
Things you
thing
love
here.
to see.
Bub says LAG can be a great team if they slow down a bit. They seemed hectic at times. Boston showed a lot of potential. London did not impress me at all. But with the stacked roster they have, they'll figure it out. Paris tough like a top 12 once again. Almost fell asleep on the series. Rough.
Oh no.
Jeez. And then last but not least, Rudy to Padudi. LAG good on paper, but Gunless keeps having a rough time getting benched. Oof.
Tough
Ouch.
stuff, boys. Well, dang. There it is,
Tough
boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. That's the podcast.
spot.
Guys, what are you watching this week?
I need to watch Book of Boba episode 4 still.
Oh, yeah.
So
Next
I'm
one comes
behind.
out. Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Yeah, I'm behind there.
The
And
last episode was fire.
then I'm also watching Ozark season 4. So,
Yes.
it's phenomenal.
I'm
so
like
far.
2 episodes in so far. Very good.
Yep, same.
I've been watching The Morning Show
Oh, what's
on
this?
Apple TV. Jennifer Aniston and some other really famous person that's blonde and short, I think.
It's a blonde.
But she's
and
Reese
short.
Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
There it is. Good job.
I looked it
Really?
up. I'm
It's-
I was like, bro, if you just guessed that by blonde, and short,
Boom. Reese
Reese
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon.
No, really, really good show, actually.
That's a pretty good description, though. Famous, blonde, and short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good.
That's
Josh,
good.
how about you?
It has a 63% Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm going to go with it's not a good show.
What, Morning Show?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a great. It really is great.
Oh.
Jo-
Oh, it has an
Josh
8.3
trusts
on
Rotten
IMDb.
Tomatoes.
It's really good.
Oh, it has a good IMDb rating. That's good. Normally, I'm kind of like it has an 80% audience score. See, I had to click on it. All right. It's not bad. Good. Well, awesome. Boys and girls, that's the show right there. Best of 3 podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, drop your comments down below. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Always appreciate that. We read them out, so always appreciate that support. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching Vanguard this weekend, because I really did, and I think we all really enjoyed. Pleasant surprise for how exciting of an event it was. And so a lot more content coming soon. Again, next week's episode will also be on Wednesday. So we'll have back-to-back Wednesday episodes. Then we'll be back to the normal Tuesday scheduling after that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the little Wednesday action here for the next week as well.
Well, we
What?
might have to talk about that. But okay.
Oh no. But we'll see what happens. As always, I'm Josh. That's Sam. Our product right is Rex. And guys, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.